In Why Marshals, Casey Dutton fully embraces single fatherhood while navigating the dangers of Montana alongside his son, Tate. And it's a story we definitely need to talk about. When the series begins, we meet Casey at a pivotal crossroads. Becoming a U.S. Marshal isn't about chasing thrills, it's about finding a place where he truly knows how to exist. Showrunner Spencer Hudnut puts it simply. He's a cowboy, but he's also a Navy SEAL. He has this incredible toolkit of skills just waiting to be tested. Casey was built for the fire. Hudnut continues. He excels when running into danger. Protecting others has always made sense to Casey, so it's no surprise he chose this path after everything that happened in the Yellowstone finale. Casey's journey in Yellowstone kept him busy, protecting the ranch and everything he loved. But Why Marshals picks up roughly a year later when the chaos in Montana has finally quieted. With East Camp now secured for his family, Casey has the chance to shift the trajectory of his life. But first, he must confront himself. Hudnut explains that this period of downtime forced Casey to face his demons and focus on fatherhood. He's a changed man. And with Tate returning at 17, on the brink of adulthood, his father's guidance has never been more critical. Hudnut describes their relationship as a central storyline. Casey always saw himself primarily as a provider and protector, perhaps leaving day-to-day parenting to his wife. Now, with fewer distractions, we get to see something deeply tender between father and son. Casey begins to see more of himself in Tate, which naturally draws him back to his own father. John Dutton's absence still lingers, and being the parent Tate needs forces Casey to understand John in ways he never could before. At the heart of Why Marshals is also a team that feels less like coworkers and more like a chosen family. Hudnut calls it a non-traditional procedural. Each Marshal is highly skilled, but also layered and complicated, much like the characters fans loved in the Yellowstone universe. Casey's former SEAL leader, Pete Calvin, now leads the unit. Andrea arrives in Montana after losing her previous job for speaking her mind. Belle thrives in undercover work. Miles from the Broken Rock Reservation leaves traditional policing to protect his community as a marshal. What binds them isn't just the job, it's trust. It's a show about people who are excellent at what they do, but we also dive into their personal lives. This family comes together over the course of the first season. Hudnut says, fans of Yellowstone will also see familiar faces. Thomas Rainwater and Mo remain part of Casey's world. Hudnut shares his affection for this dynamic. Writing for Gil has been one of the highlights of my career. Watching Casey and Rainwater's relationship evolve is beautiful. Rainwater even serves as a paternal figure for Casey after John's passing. Stepping into this world carried significant pressure. Hudnut admits, taking on a character created by one of the best writers of my generation, Taylor Sheridan, is intimidating. Casey is one of the most iconic characters on television this century. I'm not trying to replicate Yellowstone. I just want to give Casey the focus and character development he deserves. Yet one absence looms large: Monica. She's nowhere to be seen in trailers, promotional images, or the cast list. Hudnut offers no confirmation, leaving fans to speculate. Rumors suggest a devastating event opens the series, possibly Monica's sudden death, pushing Casey into federal service. The trailer hints at a possible cartel connection, which may unfold alongside Casey in the first episode. Monica's presence or absence is pivotal to Casey's journey. His guilt, inner conflict, and sense of self were all intertwined with her. Flashbacks are expected, with the show intentionally keeping her out of view to preserve a major emotional reveal, a classic Sheridan gut punch. With a full 13-episode season premiering Sunday, March 1st, 2026 on CBS and streaming later on Paramount+, Why Marshals marks an exciting new era in the Yellowstone universe. For weekly updates on Why Marshals, make sure to like and follow. The trailer for Why Marshals Episode 1 drops a gut punch of tragedy that immediately grabs you and refuses to let go. From the very first frame, it's clear that this isn't just a procedural about law enforcement. It's a story drenched in heartbreak, loss, and the brutal weight of legacy. Fans of the Yellowstone universe know that Casey Dutton isn't a man to shy away from danger, but the trailer paints a portrait of a man pushed to the edge, forced to navigate grief, responsibility, and vengeance all at once. There's a tension in every scene, a heaviness in the air that screams something monumental has shifted in Casey's world. The trailer doesn't just tease action, it teases an emotional upheaval that promises to redefine his entire life. It's a tragedy that sets the tone for a series that's not afraid to make you feel every loss, every regret, and every choice that comes with being a father, a protector, and a man trying to survive in a world that won't give him a break. From what we see, the stakes have never been higher, and Casey's journey is about to pull viewers into a storm of danger and heartache unlike anything we've seen before in the Yellowstone universe. The first trailer for Why, Marshals immediately throws us into a world that feels both familiar and devastatingly new. We pick up with Casey Dutton standing at a crossroads, but this isn't the Casey we saw navigating the sprawling chaos of Yellowstone. It's a man shaped by tragedy, haunted by absence, and confronting responsibilities he can't escape. The trailer hints that the catalyst for this new chapter is a shocking and deeply personal loss, one that leaves Casey reeling and forces him to step into the federal world as a U.S. Marshal. There's a raw intensity in his eyes, a mix of pain, determination, and the kind of quiet fury that only comes from losing someone you love. It's clear that the tragedy hitting Casey isn't just a plot device. It's the emotional engine driving this series forward. The way the trailer lingers on his hesitation, the small moments where he's silent, observing, and calculating, tells us everything we need to know about the weight he carries. It's a story about more than law enforcement. It's about fatherhood under pressure, legacy, and confronting the demons of the past while trying to protect what matters most in the present. And then there's Tate, standing at the edge of boyhood and adulthood, whose very presence seems to remind Casey of what he's fighting for and what he's already lost. The dynamic between them promises to be the beating heart of this series, a tense, tender exploration of how a father and son navigate grief, fear, and responsibility together. The trailer also teases the broader world Casey is stepping into, a team of marshals who are as bruised and complicated as he is, bringing their own histories, pain, and motivations into play. Each character is introduced with precision, their skills and backstories hinted at in fleeting lines and subtle visuals, but the emotional gravity never lets the action overshadow the human stakes. There's Pete Calvin, Casey's former SEAL team leader, whose presence suggests mentorship, strategy, and the shadow of past battles. Andrea, whose sharp mind and willingness to speak her truth marks her as someone who won't bend to the system. Belle, whose expertise in undercover operations hints at the dangers lurking in every corner. And Miles, whose personal journey from traditional policing to becoming a marshal adds layers of moral complexity to the team. Yet despite this ensemble, Casey remains the anchor, the man whose choices ripple across every storyline. The trailer doesn't shy away from showing that tragedy touches every part of his life, from personal loss to professional pressure. There's a subtle but powerful undercurrent suggesting that Monica's absence, his wife, the emotional center of his past, is the driving force behind the turmoil, the void that shapes his actions, and the mystery that keeps viewers guessing. The trailer drops hints that she may have been caught in a violent event, perhaps linked to cartel activity, leaving Casey not only with heartbreak, but with a sense of duty that feels almost unavoidable. There's a tension in every frame, a quiet suspense that keeps you leaning forward, wondering what choices Casey will make, how he'll navigate his grief, and what the consequences will be for him, Tate, and the people around him. It's a perfect setup for a series that promises both high-stakes action and intimate emotional storytelling, a combination that Yellowstone fans know will resonate deeply. This first trailer doesn't just tease the series, it establishes a tone, a rhythm, and an emotional landscape that feels catastrophic yet compelling. Every glance, every decision, and every interaction feels loaded with meaning, showing that why. Marshals is setting up a season where personal loss and professional duty collide in ways that will leave viewers breathless, heartbroken, and desperate for more. As the trailer progresses, the tragedy that has befallen Casey becomes even more palpable, and the stakes feel monumental. There's an almost suffocating tension in every moment. Every glance he gives, every calculated movement he makes, reflects the weight of grief pressing down on him. It's clear that Casey's step into the world of federal marshals isn't just a career shift, it's a survival mechanism, a way to channel his pain into purpose while grappling with a loss that's left him hollow yet fiercely determined. Tate's presence is a constant reminder of what's at stake, and the trailer doesn't shy away from showing how their relationship has shifted. There's a fragility to their interactions, small silences, cautious touches, moments where Casey's instincts as a father clash with his inner turmoil. The tragedy looms over them, but it also serves as a crucible, forcing Casey to confront the kind of man he wants to be for his son. You can feel that this isn't just about protection, it's about guidance, about passing down lessons learned the hard way, about being a father where previously circumstances may have left him distant. The trailer teases glimpses of the dangers that await them in Montana, but even more than the external threats, the internal battles take center stage. There's a sense that Casey isn't only fighting criminals or chaos, he's fighting himself, trying to reconcile his pain, his guilt, and the expectations he places on himself. This inner conflict is highlighted in the trailer through fleeting but powerful imagery. Casey pausing in empty hallways, staring at the horizon with a look that says he's simultaneously burdened and ready for what comes next. And then there's the team introduced in ways that hint at complex dynamics yet to unfold. Pete Calvin's presence brings both mentorship and echoes of Casey's own past as a Navy SEAL, suggesting that the lessons from previous battles will now collide with the very personal tragedy shaping his new life. Andrea's arrival promises friction, intelligence, and a moral clarity that challenges Casey's instincts, while Belle's undercover expertise suggests that danger can come from anywhere, even those who seem closest to you. Miles adds a layer of cultural and moral complexity with his history on the Broken Rock Reservation and his decision to leave traditional policing behind, illustrating the personal sacrifices that each member has endured to be part of this unit. The trailer makes it clear that these aren't just colleagues. They're a chosen family forged in the fires of personal struggles, a team whose trust is earned through shared danger and mutual respect. Yet, no matter how capable they are, the emotional weight carried by Casey feels unmatched. And the trailer emphasizes that his personal tragedy is the lens through which everything else will unfold. There are hints that Monica's fate is central not only to Casey's heartbreak, but to the story's driving force, with the trailer dropping subtle clues about her possible connection to dangerous forces like the cartel, and how that entangles Casey in conflicts far bigger than he could have anticipated. The trailer also hints at the subtle ways grief shapes decision-making. Casey's choices feel sharper, more calculated, but also tinged with desperation. Every move he makes seems to carry a question. Can he protect those he loves while processing the loss that haunts him? The tension isn't just external, it's deeply psychological, exploring the fine line between vengeance, justice, and the instinct to survive. And amidst all this, Tate's role is crucial. At 17, he's old enough to understand danger, but still a child in the eyes of a father learning to be present. The trailer carefully balances this dynamic, showing moments of quiet connection, shared glances, protective gestures, and small acts of reassurance against the backdrop of a world that feels increasingly unforgiving. Every beat of the trailer emphasizes that Casey's journey is as much about mastering the external chaos as it is about reconciling internal grief, making every scene feel charged, suspenseful, and emotionally resonant. It's a delicate balance of action and reflection, tragedy and resilience that signals the series will not only deliver thrilling procedural elements, but will also dive deep into the personal costs of loss, loyalty, and love in ways that feel both familiar to Yellowstone fans and fresh in its own right. The trailer sets the tone for a season where every decision, every risk, and every bond is filtered through the lens of tragedy, making the series' first episode feel like a crucible of emotion, suspense, and high-stakes drama. The trailer makes one thing unmistakably clear. Casey Dutton is a man at war with both the world around him and the shadows within himself. Every frame suggests that the tragedy that strikes him isn't a momentary setback, it's a seismic shift that will redefine his relationships, his priorities, and his very identity. From the very beginning, you can feel the raw intensity of a man who has lost the center of his life, and the trailer captures this with subtle but haunting visual cues: a deserted home, personal mementos left untouched, and the silence that hangs heavier than any dialogue could convey. Monica's absence is not just a missing character, it's a gaping wound, one that frames every decision Casey makes and every interaction he has with the people around him. Her loss, hinted at being sudden and violent, casts a shadow that elevates even the simplest actions into moments of heart-stopping tension. It's in this crucible of grief that Casey steps into the federal world as a U.S. Marshal, not out of ambition, but as a way to confront the chaos around him while managing the storm within. And it's immediately apparent that this transition won't be easy. The trailer teases dangerous confrontations, morally gray decisions, and moments of split-second judgment that could mean life or death, not just for Casey, but for everyone he's sworn to protect. Tate, now on the cusp of adulthood, is thrust into this dangerous new reality alongside his father, and the trailer hints at moments where he'll have to navigate fear, uncertainty, and his own emerging independence. This father-son dynamic is at the core of the story, and it's framed with a tension that's as thrilling as it is deeply emotional. The trailer also emphasizes that Casey's personal tragedy is inseparable from the broader threats in his world. From potential cartel involvement to local corruption and the ever-present danger lurking in Montana, Casey's grief intersects with professional peril. Forcing him to operate with both heart and precision, the stakes feel impossibly high because the series isn't just about law enforcement, it's about the human cost of violence, loss, and the relentless pursuit of justice when personal stakes are at their absolute peak. And then there's the team dynamic, which the trailer highlights through fleeting but telling interactions. Pete Calvin's leadership and history with Casey signal tactical brilliance, but also the lingering weight of shared experiences in life and death situations. Andrea's sharp instincts, Belle's undercover acumen, and Miles' complex moral compass add layers of strategy, tension, and unpredictability to the unit. Each Marshal carries their own scars, making this team less a group of colleagues and more a band of survivors. Each battle they face reflecting the personal struggles that brought them here. The trailer underscores that this is not a conventional procedural. It's a narrative about how trauma, duty, and loyalty intertwine. There's an unmistakable sense that Casey's actions, informed by tragedy, will ripple through every storyline, affecting allies and adversaries alike. Subtle hints in the trailer suggest that Monica's fate is intertwined with criminal networks, raising the possibility that her death or disappearance will catalyze Casey's confrontations with dangerous forces he's long avoided.